What's up, everyone? John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo here. Tablets are bound to be the hot item this holiday season, and two tablets currently reign supreme. In one corner, we have the Apple iPad, and the other, we have the contender, the Samsung Galaxy Tab. With RIM's playbook looming large, these two are really top of mind. I'm going to put these two head-to-head in an 8-round tablet smackdown and see who comes out on top. These types of comparisons are bound to enrage fans on either side. I think the comments will be fun to watch. The 8 rounds are going to break down into display, operating system, wireless storage, camera, browser performance, and battery life. We will declare a winner. There are obviously a myriad of other topics we could choose from. We had to pick 8 that I thought surmised the strengths, the weaknesses, and sort of brought these two tablets best head to head. Let's go ahead and jump right in with the display. Since they are tablets, it's what you're going to be looking at while you're doing everything with both of these devices. The iPad has a 9.7-inch IPS display with a resolution of 768 by 1024. Galaxy Tab is a little bit smaller at 7 inches with a resolution of 600 by 1024. Galaxy Tab has a little bit of a higher pixel density than the iPad, but the screen on the iPad just looks beautiful for watching video and pictures, and seems to just pop a little bit more than the Galaxy Tab does. If you want to see what video looks like on the Galaxy Tab or the iPad, I'm sure to check out previous videos. I'll put links down below. But suffice to say, the screen on the iPad just looks better. We're not talking about the size or anything, just the quality of the display. One nice thing where the Galaxy Tab does shine over the iPad in a display standpoint is in the ebook section. Text looks very nice with a higher pixel density, and there's a little bit less glare while reading books than you get with the iPad. But if you take sort of the view overall, when you look at video, pictures, books, web browsing, everything that you would do at a screen, the iPad definitely takes this round. Alright, so next we're going to jump into operating system. The Galaxy Tab is running a customized version of Android 2.2. Samsung put a lot of tweaks in to sort of optimize it for a tablet. It is by no means a tablet operating system. It's certainly meant for mobile phones. But Samsung has done a very nice job of sort of using some of the things they learned with their Galaxy S series of devices and their TouchWiz tweaks to make this work very well as a tablet operating system. Jump into applications. Scrolling is very smooth. You sort of see the icons are encapsulated. They both look very similar. If you jump into the ebook reader now, it looks very similar to what we've seen on other devices. They've done a nice job taking what wasn't meant to be a tablet operating system, really sort of tableting it up and making it work quite well. If you want to see a full software overview, again, there'll be a link down below to that on the Galaxy Tab. One of the nice things about the Galaxy Tab as well is that it's running Android, and it is of course open. So one of the things you can look forward to is people probably rooting the device and getting access to sort of customize it and make it suit you the best. Not to mention the potential for custom ROMs. On the other side of the fence, the iPad is an operating system that was modified for the tablet, and it's Apple's very vertically integrated, meaning they control the software, they control the hardware. So the operating system was made for this tablet device. Certainly was modified from the iPhone. If you use an iPad, you know that you're going to sort of get a little bit of a locked down scenario, but with that locked down dish, you're going to get access to the iTunes Store, which will let you rent movies, rent TV shows, and certainly the App Store as well, as opposed to the Android Marketplace that you're going to get on the Galaxy Tab. Sort of the Android versus iOS debate that we could talk about for quite some time. At the end of the day, this is going to come down to personal preference. Whether or not you prefer Android, whether or not you prefer iOS. My big worry was not how Android performs as an operating system, but how it's going to perform as a tablet operating system. And I've seen Android tablets not perform all that well, but Samsung has done a really nice job about making Android work very nicely on a tablet device. So this round, personal preference, definitely has to be a draw. Next, let's talk about wireless. These things don't have Ethernet ports, so they got to rely on wireless signals to get all their network information. The iPad, of course, comes with Wi-Fi, and you can get a AT&T 3G version. The Galaxy Tab, of course, is Wi-Fi as well, but will be available on every carrier in the US and a myriad of carriers abroad as well. So you can pick the best network service for you, and you can choose pay-as-you-go plans for each of the carriers, so you're not limited to just one. You can choose whether or not you want to even access that wireless information. So because you can pick your carrier, you're not limited to one. If you don't get good AT&T service, you can go with Verizon, you can go with Sprint or T-Mobile, depending on where you're going to be. They're all going to offer a flavor of the Galaxy Tab. So that definitely gives the Galaxy Tab a very nice edge in the wireless department. And this is a category that's really important to some people. If you're not near Wi-Fi and you want to have a signal and sort of use this as a media device or use it for a business device, you need to have a signal wherever you are, and being able to pick the network of your choice really is a nice boon for the Galaxy Tab. So next, let's talk about storage. You got to store some things on these devices. The iPad, you're going to be able to get 16 or 32 gigabyte configurations. And at this point, let me jump in and say I'm not mentioning price on purpose. These videos sort of are viewed over a long period of time, and pricing on these devices change expectedly pretty regularly, specifically the Galaxy Tab. Apple's prices are pretty solid, starting at $499. But the Galaxy Tab, the prices are bound to fluctuate from carrier to carrier and from region to region. So the iPad comes in two configurations, 16 or 32, and you're sort of limited at that. You can't expand or contract depending on your needs. The Galaxy Tab, the base one, comes in at 16 gigabytes, but it does feature on the side a micro SD card slot where you can go and edit and put in, rather, as big a card as you want, sort of make this customized a little bit better for you. And I'm not really going through and showing all these things with the operating system that I'm talking about. In the interest of time, I want to just give you a general overview and talk about them. So because the Galaxy Tab lets you pick as much storage as you want, if 32 is not enough, you can certainly keep going up. You can add a 32 gigabyte card and tack that on to your 16 gig of internal storage. You have, again, a bit more flexibility with the Galaxy Tab, which probably ties into the openness of Android. So from a storage standpoint, the Galaxy Tab is also going to take this round. And I would be remiss to not talk about cameras when dealing with two tablets. And that's one area really where the Galaxy Tab is definitely a winner. Just the fact that it has a camera. And it does actually have two cameras. It's got a 1.3 megapixel sensor on the top, and it's got a 3 megapixel camera with autofocus and flash on the back. The iPad clearly is without any sort of camera, and that's important to a lot of people. I thought it was one of the big determining factors, and that really separated differences between these two. So if you're noticing a trend here, the Galaxy Tab is also going to take this round. So I've done a lot of overviews on the browsers and sort of what each of them look like, and sort of the nuances of each. I will say that Android browser is Android browser you've seen on really every other Android phone, and the iOS browser and mobile Safari is really what you've seen on the iPhone and the iPad many times before. Main difference here, this has been tweaked a little bit for the tabletness, I would say. You get a little more graphical niceness, I would say, but you also get full Flash 10.1 support, which may not be important to you, or it may be essential to you. Again, it gives you the option to whether or not you want to have Flash support, whether or not you want it to be there. If it's essential, then you're going to have that choice. If you don't need it, you want to save battery, you can go ahead and turn that off. And I've sort of done these head-to-head comparisons with browsers, with Android and iOS devices quite a bit, and the Flash support that Android gives almost always gives it an edge. So if you're looking for a really solid browser with nice pinch to zoom, this is going to be a great way to go. Here we've got Google loaded up. Galaxy Tab is once again going to take the browser round. Next, let's talk about performance. This is sort of another area where that vertical integration really comes into play. Again, the fact that Apple controls the software, controls the hardware, and also really relates itself to better performance. These two tablets are all kind of distant cousins. Apple's A4 chip and Samsung's Hummingbird are both clocked at 1 gigahertz and really sort of share a lot of similar architecture. However, the performance on the iPad is a bit snappier, despite sort of the same clock speed. So when you sort of come down to multitasking, which sort of the iPad does iffy with iOS 4.2, sort of just using general things like iBooks and other devices, it's just a little bit faster. Viewing video loaded a little bit quicker, video looked a little bit smoother. The iPad is just noticeably a little bit quicker. It's something you have to really use both devices to really get a sense of the nuances. But suffice it to say, the iPad is definitely going to take this round. Alright, next let's talk about battery. You probably want to use these things for a little while. The iPad is sort of a very easy category to judge. The iPad's a bit larger, it's got a bigger battery, clocking in about 10 hours of usage, whereas the 7-inch Galaxy Tab has a 7-hour battery life. So that's sort of how those are going to break down. So we put these two through 8 rounds, and I can already hear the comments going crazy down below. I try to be as objective as possible and sort of leave personal opinions out of it and look at these like someone who didn't know much about either device. So we have 8 rounds total. I'll sort of run them through you again. Display went to the iPad. OS was a draw. Wireless went to the Galaxy Tab, which I also should have mentioned that the European version has the ability to make phone calls as well. Storage went to the Galaxy Tab. Camera, of course, went to the Galaxy Tab. Browser went to the Galaxy Tab for Flash. Coming back across the board, and the iPad took performance, and the iPad took battery life, which gives us a total of iPad 3, Galaxy Tab 4, tie 1. Now, that is not to say the iPad is not a better overall device. Personally, I love the iPad. I think it's a fantastic tablet. It's probably my tablet of choice, but that's a personal opinion. Coming in objectively, the Galaxy Tab offers a bit more flexibility for the user. If you need more storage, you have that option. If you need different carriers to give you better network support depending on where you are, you have that option. If you're in Europe and you want to use it as a phone with a Bluetooth headset, you have that option. If you want to customize it, because it's Android and it's open, you have that option. You have a lot of options with the Galaxy Tab that you don't have with the iPad. If you're willing to live within Apple's limitations, which like a lot of people obviously are, you're going to get a fantastic tablet in the iPad. This is not to say that the iPad is a bad buy or a bad value. It's just very different than the Galaxy Tab. Hope this guy's helped and hope this sort of shed some light on which device may be better for you. I am John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.